It's Keldon Johnson, and he's bobbling. A bobbling for you. Hey, what's up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. I don't know where to put Keldon on, but he's going to ride his horse on over here. Should he stay on the screen? I'll put him over right over here. It's the bobbling head throughout the whole podcast, if you will. But the San Antonio Spurs recap. The Spurs, kind of expected, didn't play great in the preseason. Take it all with a grain of salt. Take any of the stats we go over with a grain of salt, and also my reviews of the preseason or talking about it because I didn't catch all of it. Big part of it was the NBA pass was an absolute disaster for me. The games were crashing left and right. Even trying to watch a replay of their one win, which I didn't get to see, the NBA pass kept crashing like every 5 to 10 minutes, making it virtually unwatchable. There's no scoreboard. There's huge issues with the audio not syncing with the video. And looking online, apparently anybody that has Roku is having the same issue. So if you have a Roku and you're planning on streaming the NBA Pass this year, you might be looking at a big, giant headache. That being said, I have some news here. I'm going to put the news right at the beginning of the video, even though we don't have a lot of people in here yet. Anybody that's watching the replay, I want to get this news out there because it's pretty important. Well, first, other news. Joe Wieskamp released. Thank you for your time with the San Antonio Spurs, Joe Mama. And actually, it was just mentioned in the chat. Yes, Joe Wieskamp waived. Not shocked, really. Didn't feel like he was another one of those guys that was like 6'5", 6'6", that did he really bring anything different to the table than any of our others guys brought, like a Keldon, like Josh Richardson. He just, I don't know, just one of those guys that I felt, I don't think he's going to be here long term. And what did he last? 2 years, right? This would have been his third season because he was drafted. When was he drafted? Geez, did Joe Wieskamp only play 1 year with us? Was he last year's draft? 41 or 42? Crap. I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank. I'm totally drawing a blank. When would he played 2 years with us, didn't he? Primo last year, and did Wieskamp only play 1 year? Gosh, was it only 1 year and he's gone already? Dang. I feel like it was longer. Yeah, I don't know what the point of drafting him was. I'm sitting here, I'm like, no, he had to have played 2 years with us, but then I'm like, no, he only played last year. Wow, how quickly you forget. He was drafted with Primo, and he's gone. So that's obviously some news today. Folks that were rooting for Joe Wieskamp no longer on the team. Wish him best of luck. Hopefully he catches on somewhere. I would have liked to at least give him another year. Couldn't we have optioned him to the G League? Was our roster that full we just couldn't afford to keep him on the roster? Yeah. Oh, well, life goes on. I mean, you're a fan of the team first, player second. So, the other news. This is, I guess, big channel news for TSR Sports. And if you've been following the channel the last 3 months, there's been very little content on the channel. I'm not ending the channel. Let me get that out there. First and foremost, this is not the end of TSR Sports, but there is going to be a change with TSR Sports. I will not be live streaming the San Antonio Spurs games anymore, nor the New York Giants. The reason being is my life has changed considerably from when I started this channel in 2019 to where we are in 2022. No, there's no Miss TSR Sports. I wish that was the issue, but it's not, and I'm still a Giants fan, Spurs fan, throughout. But back in 2019, a real quick summary, and then we'll get into the Spurs. The main reason you're here, but I just want to let you guys know, when I started this channel in 2019, it was kind of in a bad place, coming out of a bad job, bad relationship. Mom had passed away not too long ago. Just a lot of stuff was happening, and I kind of wanted to, I stayed in a lot in 2019. Wasn't going out, wasn't dating, etc. And then 2020 hits, and now I'm staying in, and I don't want to because of, the 1-9 that was going around, and that issue was big last year too. But in 2022, I have, especially the last 3 months, been hanging out with my friends a lot more and have gotten back into gaming, playing more Magic the Gathering, etc. To where the point is I'm hanging out with friends pretty much every night of the week. And I have at least 10 people that I could call best friends, close friends. I don't have a lot of family, but I have friends that I am really close with that I've known for 10, 15, or more than 20 years. And hanging out with them every night, looking into the season coming up with the Spurs, I'm like, either I stop hanging out with my friends as much as I am and call the Spurs games, or I stop calling the Spurs games and continue to hang out with my friends. And I love the San Antonio Spurs, don't get me wrong, but for me it's always God, family, friends, and then YouTube. And I realize I just cannot commit to calling the Spurs. That being said, and by the way, the NBA Pass, I've already mentioned, a starter stream has been terrible. So I'm probably not going to get the NBA Pass this year. I'm still going to watch the replays, the highlights on YouTube, the 10-minute highlights, which aren't going to give me the best synopsis of what happened in the game, but I still am going to follow the team religiously. What I am going to keep doing on this channel, and I try to pinpoint stuff that I like, is one, I am going to still do the Spurs recaps every Sunday. I really like doing those, even though a lot of those videos didn't get views. I'm a stats guy and like looking to see how our players played out through the week and what they shot and this, that, and the other, rating the good, bad, and the ugly. I had a lot of fun with that. I think I had a pretty good, the group of you that really liked them as well. So I am going to continue to do this San Antonio Spurs recaps. There will be the occasional live stream. I'm not saying I'm never going to stream live again. I love streaming the NBA draft, a mid-season report card, doing a live thing, a end-of-season report card. I enjoy doing those. The New York Giants NFL draft, I'll always be covering that. I love doing that coverage. And the NBA video, a draft prospect video. Maybe there's another type Kai Soto player. I still need to do my Jordan versus LeBron. And I'm obviously going to be doing a lot of content when I'm in San Antonio this year to see 2 Spurs games live. So I've got to put some content up for that. And then the occasional Spurs video. But for the Spurs, it's going to be mainly the recaps and occasional news video and the occasional live stream. For the Giants, my favorite time of the year to cover the Giants is the draft and the free agency portion. That just really gets me going. Just covering the team on a regular weekly basis, that's not my thing. I love watching them. I watch them every week, even though they weren't on Sunday. I couldn't watch them if I wanted to. They showed the stupid Jets and Packers. So that's kind of what's going on with the channel. I know a lot of you like to tune into the live play-by-plays, and I thought I did a really good job at it. But life will always come first. And I've also been putting a lot of time for the few that are subscribed to my music channel, and I'm not going to go say subscribe to it because there's some political stuff on there, but I've been doing about 3 to 4 videos a week over there. I really want to somehow grow that channel, and I'm a very tiny needle in the biggest haystack on the planet, but I really want to focus on that. That has always been a goal of mine, to somehow succeed in any way I can in the music industry, whereas a sports channel, I kind of fell into it by accident by discovering the entertainer Talking Sports, who was a big influence on me. And that's it for the channel update, but I'm still going to be here, and first recap will be next week. The Spurs play, I think, 2 games this week, don't they? Anyway, that being said, let me take a look at the chat real quick. The bobblehead jumps. Nice. Vlog some game nights? We'll see. I mean, right now the itch isn't there to do daily content, but you never know. It could always come back. And yes, thank you, Z Dude. I love the, I enjoy the report cards too, and it's just, live, I give credit to the guys that live streams, guys and girls, 4, 5, 6 times a week, but I have to think that's one of their main hobbies, if not main hobby. Whereas for me, I've told you guys, I'm a comic book guy. I went to a comic book show on Sunday. I got back late. Even if the Giants game was on, I couldn't watch all of it. I play Magic the Gathering. Obviously, I'm a Spurs fan and a Giants fan. I play a lot of sports, basketball, cycling, etc. And there's another small list of the musician too. So I just have a ton of hobbies, and there's only so much time for so many of them. I'm a gamer again with the Xbox. Anyway, I'm gonna get to the preseason here, and I will definitely be doing the draft. I'm still gonna, I thought about doing one game a week, William, but I was like, I'm the type of person, if I'm going to do something, I want to be all in, not just partially in, and I want to do content that I'm all in on. The recaps, really enjoy doing those, all in on that. So, plus I hate the NBA Pass right now. It's been terrible, and researching, the people have said the Roku, streamers on the Roku are just they're going to hate it. So we'll see. I might end up still buying the NBA Pass just to watch the games here and there, and who knows? Maybe I don't know. Maybe I can react to the highlight videos. Yeah, that's something I could do. If I don't get to see the game, watch the highlights, the 10-minute. I know it'll get copyrighted claim from House of Highlights or whatever, but that could be something different for the channel where I don't know what the heck happened in the game. So anyway, let's talk about the preseason, because man, the Spurs, I don't know if they're tanking. They might not be very good this year, to be transparent. Some folks are going to say, well, you're not calling games because the Spurs are bad. I'm going to be like, hello, the Spurs have not been good in the last 3 years. The time I've been doing this channel, the Spurs haven't been pretty good, and I'm still a fan of them. It's just life has changed. That being said, looking at the preseason stats, take them all with a grain of salt. Keldon Johnson, which I'm a little worried about his considerable weight loss. You can see in his picture he looks thin. I think that's an updated picture. Average 20.5 points a game, and if I had to put my money on one San Antonio Spurs player this year that's going to average 20 or more points, it's the bobblehead, which, by the way, this is the favorite thing I've ever gotten from somebody on the channel. yeah, I don't think Keldon that's a problem. Anyway, I could see Keldon averaging significantly more than 20 points per game if his three-point shot is working. Devin Vassell, I think, is also a strong candidate to average more than 20 points per game. Yes, I'm sitting here saying I think the Spurs could have two players possibly average 20 points per game, which means they might be a little better than expected. As far as Primo, 16 and a half seems like a little bit of stretch. We'll get into the season, the player stats for everybody else in just a moment. Jakob Poeltl should be, well, actually, if you look at these rebounds, I don't believe, and these are limited minutes. We're going to need these numbers to go up. I do have concerns, as I have with every Spurs team the last few years, that we're going to get crushed on the boards. Jakob Poeltl has yet to be a double-digit rebound guy, and that's usually what you're looking for at a guy that's 7 feet tall, get you 10, 12 plus boards a game, and he hasn't really been that guy. He's a great offensive rebounder, but defensively, not really there. Jeremy, you don't mess with the Sohan. Only average 4.6 rebounds, hopefully, when the season starts. And I think he's going to be our starter. The thumbnail that you see, I think that is our starting lineup. Tre Jones, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and Jeremy Sohan, and Jakob Poeltl from 1 to 5. I think the Spurs are going to roll with that. And I think it's great. Jeremy Sohan may struggle, especially offensively, but you know what? You drafted him, and he's a top 10 pick. For the love of Spurs Nation, stop throwing guys to the G League, put them out there, see what they can do. We have nothing to lose. And there are some Spurs fans that want us to lose a lot of games and make the tank for Victor at Wembayama. Life medal. Thanks, all it's awesome. Blocks. Not really a lot to go into here. A lot of guys average a block per game. It is kind of weird seeing Gorgui Dieng leading in two of the defensive categories for the Spurs. Did he play a lot of minutes? I haven't looked at the stats yet. I'm going to kind of look at him with you guys in just a moment. But seeing Gorgui Dieng be our top defender, at least statistically, and he's over 30, it's got to be an anomaly. And then minutes, Keldon was our top minute guy. And obviously, these minutes are going to go up. When the season starts, I expect the top three guys there to average at least 30 minutes per game or more. Jakob Poeltl should be around 30 minutes per game, depending on his foul trouble. Jeremy Sohan might be limited a little more to about 25 minutes a game. But anyway, let's get into the stats, Spurs fans, and then what your expectations are for this season. Are you expecting a really low amount of wins? Are you expecting this to be one of the Spurs' worst seasons in the history of the team, or at least in the last pre-David Robinson, or the injury year of David Robinson, 96-97, when I think we went 22 and... Did we go 22 and 60 that year, or was it 20 and 62? I know it was a low number. Good evening, Cowboy X Factor. How about my New York Giants? Anyway, this isn't about the Giants tonight. This is about the Spurs. And looking at Keldon Johnson, starting off with Keldon, 20.5 points per game in 25.7 minutes. Shot well from the field, shot well from beyond the arc. Could Keldon, in a full arsenal of minutes, if you will, 33 to 35 minutes, could Keldon average 25 minutes or more points per game for the San Antonio Spurs this year? Could he have a breakout season? Could he be just riding that horse right off into Spurs stardom or the next All-Star? He's nodding his head. Yes, I think possibly yes. I got to think with the contract they just gave him, the Spurs seem to really love him. Pop seems to love him. Maybe the Olympic team. I think Keldon could average between 23 and 25 points per game. And that's not just me being a homer because I'm a Keldon fan. He's got a great three-point shot that he's really improved on over the last few years. He's a little bit of inconsistent, but usually a pretty good free throw shooter. He showed us he can finish in the paint. Always working on his game, adding the Euro step. I think he could be 25 points per game. And right behind him, Devin Vassell averaging 16.5 points in 24 minutes. I think the Spurs are going to look at him to be the second leading scorer. I think he's going to be the second option in the offense, and I could see him averaging 20 points per game as well. Now, three-point shooting was a little rough in the preseason, only shooting 25%, but I think, again, that's more of an anomaly. I could see those numbers going up. Hopefully, we're going to need some three-point shooting out of our starters. If we're going with the starting lineup that you see on the thumbnail, and once again, if you're coming in, the starting lineup, just to reiterate, I got to think is Tre Jones, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, and Jakob Poeltl, the one from 1 through 5. Teams are really going to need to rely on Keldon and Devin to hit their threes because Tre Jones has shown us he's not a consistent or good three-point shooter. Jakob Poeltl doesn't take threes, and Jeremy Sohan, I don't believe has shot the three well in this preseason. I'll have to double-check. It could affect us trying to score in the paint. So are we going to turn into a jump shooting team? I don't know. Time will tell. But J Money, the Spurs, the opening, we open on Thursday night. Now, for those just coming in, I made the announcement at the start of the stream. If you want to replay it, and I don't want to go into all the reasons of what, but I will not be live streaming any more Giants games or Spurs games. I just don't have the time. But I am going to continue to do content on the channel, and I went over that at the start of the video. That being said, Joshua Primo had a fantastic preseason, shooting 58% from the field. Now, I like Joshua Primo. I don't see that. I can't see that continuing into the regular season. Not that high, not that level of efficiency, but this should be hopefully a good year to really gauge Joshua Primo. A lot of folks were calling him a bust last year, and we shouldn't have drafted him, etc. No player should be called a bust their rookie season. I don't care who it is. Jalen Hurts is a perfect example of the Philadelphia Eagles. I remember when people were calling him a bust left and right. The Eagles are 6-0 right now, and a large part of it is probably due to him. I haven't watched any Eagles games, but they're playing well. So Primo, I think he's going to be our sixth man off the bench, maybe taking that Lonnie Walker role. If Trey Jones struggles to start the season and Joshua Primo's excelling off the bench, then you could see Primo take Trey Jones' spot, which honestly I'd be all for Primo. We invested a lot in him, drafting him as high as we did. Trey Jones, I like Trey. I don't think the Spurs see him as their long-term starting point guard, whereas Joshua Primo, I do see the Spurs thinking he's going to be a long-time starter in this lineup as long as he develops into the player that we hoping to be. Not my last live stream ever. Just no. I will still be live streaming stuff like the NBA draft. I'll probably do a mid-season recap live. But life has changed for me. I'm spending almost every night with friends in one way or another, whether it's online or whether it's in person. And one thing had to go moving forward in the fall. Either I stop hanging out with my friends as much, or I cut the live streaming. And as you can expect, I've mentioned this before on the channel, God, family, friends, YouTube. It's got to be like that. And 2 years ago, I probably would have been like, just do the games and I'll just stop hanging out with my friends. So anyway, Trey Jones. One thing I forgot to touch base on that did concern me, and I don't know if you guys saw this in the preseason. I want to go back up to the stats real quick before we get to Trey Jones. I didn't bring this up, and I forgot to because it was way over on the right. Assists. We were a fantastic team last year, and I didn't get to see all the preseason games, Spurs fans, but was ball movement a problem here? Were a lot of players just doing a lot of one-on-one? Was there a lot of isolation? We had nobody average more than 4 assists, and yes, limited minutes, maybe, sure, but our point guard averaged 3 assists per game, and he played, how many minutes did he play? I don't know, I'm supposed to be answering that, but Trey Jones played 21 minutes per game and only averaged 3 assists. Now, I know it's just a preseason. That is a little alarming that as a team, our assists were way down, and we were fantastic at ball movement last year, getting guys involved. We were one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NBA, were we not, for assist to turnover ratio? The Spurs were just playing team ball last year, and from at least statistically speaking, it looks like that didn't happen at all in the preseason. See you, Joe. Yes, Joe. Joe Wieskamp is gone. If you guys have not heard, seemed pretty stagnant, but you thought Jones played really well? That's not happening, Cowboy X Factor. It's not. But Ron Jambo and Ricky Lombardo live on my music channel and sort of on Rumble, if you know. Anyway, Primo, solid preseason. Don McDermott, he did what Doug does. He hits 3-pointers, doesn't really... He can get to the basket. He's surprisingly athletic. I don't see him being a Spur past the All-Star break. I think the Spurs will try to move him. He'll be part of the Vets Need to Move On committee. Josh Richardson's going to be probably part of that. And Jakob Poeltl, I got to think he's staying. I mean, who else do we start at center? Zach Collins is probably not ready to start. So Trey, to his credit, he did shoot 40% from beyond the arc. Now, can he carry that over into the regular season? Not shoot 40%, but if he can shoot 35% or better and have a three-point shot team to at least have to respect, that's going to help open up the offense. We need three-point shooting because right now, just starting lineup based off last season, the struggle is going to be real. Zach Collins, he's our backup center, power forward, struggled with a shot in the preseason. This is a big year for Zach Collins. Coming after missing an entire season 2 years ago, and then he played limited action with the Spurs last year. This is his make or break year, I would think, with the Spurs, because I think the next year of his contract is not guaranteed, and half of this year is guaranteed. So if he struggles, This could be one of his last hurrahs in the NBA. He's got to show teams he can stay healthy, but show that he's a valuable asset to a team. So I'm wishing him well. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. Josh Richardson up next. Again, I already mentioned a few moments ago, I think Josh Richardson probably not going to be a Spur for the whole season. I think he'll get traded some point. I got to think some point before the All-Star break. He's going to do it. Oh, where'd he go? I can't see him. Josh Richardson, where are you? Sorry about that. Josh Richardson right there. He's going to come in. He's going to hit some three-pointers. He's going to have games where we're like, man, we should keep Josh Richardson. Why isn't he playing more? And then he's going to have those few moments where we're like, maybe we can move on from him. I just think he's going to be a very, very solid role player off the bench and probably have a spot quality start here or there if somebody's injured. KBD, got to say, when I looked at the preseason roster before the preseason started, I didn't know KBD was still on the team. I was like, KBD is still on the team, and he's going to be, didn't have a great preseason shooting-wise, but he's going to be that role player guy that starts a few times here and there as well, and he's going to have that one anomaly game here and there where you're like, KBD can ball. He just dropped 25 points, and then the next night he's going to go out and score 2. And then you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's why you don't start every game. But you know what? He's been a solid role player, had that amazing game against the Lakers last year, so I'm glad he's still around. Malachi Branham, one of our draft picks. He shot very well in the preseason. I didn't get to see a lot of him, but he shot 50% from the floor, 3 points, 40% from beyond the arc. He's a 3-level scorer, so will he be on the roster? He'll be on the roster, but will he, get any minutes off the bench, Spurs fans, or will he be sent off to the G League? I don't think I've seen any news about players being sent to the G League yet. I haven't caught a lot of news the last day or so. I hope they keep him on the roster. Dominic Barlow shot phenomenal in limited action, 83% from the field. That's ridiculous. I think he's probably going to be in the G League. Tommy Kuhse, did he get released? I think Tommy Kuhse is off the team. The one game I saw him play, he was absolutely not good. The struggle was real. He was missing everything he was firing up, so best of luck to him. Vaya con Dios. Jakob Poeltl, he's our starting center. Sucked from the free throw line, expected. He's going to do the Jakob things that he always does. Isaiah Roby, I'm surprised he only got 14 minutes a game in the preseason. I thought he would have been involved a little more. He might get more involved during the regular season. But, I guess I can move that up a little bit. I don't know what his role is going to be with the Spurs. Is he going to be a backup power forward? Is he going to be a backup center? I think he was he played at center in OKC. I'd rather have him back up Jeremy Sohan and Don McDermott back up Keldon Johnson. So I'm not sure if he has a defined role with the Spurs as of yet. Where did my chat go? There it is. Sorry about that. There's always a chance Jakob Poeltl could get moved. There is. And nobody has to apologize for coming in late or anything. Tommy Kuhse's been gone for a week? I knew he was gone. I know he's gone for a week. Okay. Poeltl. I know Spurs fans are saying tank for Victor Wembanyama, but there's no guarantee you're going to get him. Correct me if I'm wrong. The year we drafted Tim Duncan, we were actually the 3rd worst team in the NBA in '97 and happened to win the overall #1 lottery pick, and of course the franchise dynasty was born. So just because the Spurs have a chance of being one of the 3 worst teams in the NBA, maybe the worst, I hope they're not, but let's be real. It doesn't mean you're going to get Victor. It helps your chances, but it doesn't guarantee you're going to get a player. And Victor Wembanyama, for all the skills and all the talent he brings, you got to look at players like Ralph Sampson, Bill Walton. These tall, lanky guys, they're generally injury prone, and we're seeing it right now with Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren's a tall, lanky guy, very talented, out for the year. So there's high reward, but also going to be a high risk factor with Victor Wembanyama. But obviously, if you have the #1 overall pick, you got to take a chance. You just can't let him sit there. And that could happen aggressive. The Spurs could, I don't want to say they're tanking. I think they're going to try to win some games. I think they're going to try to make this, hopefully he's good enough to be an all-star. I'm hoping my man Keldon, that's Keldon Johnson, in case you recognize him, sitting on a horse, because, why not? I don't think the Spurs will intentionally tank, but just because of the nature of the roster and that I think they're going to unload some of their veterans, I think it's going to feel tanky without actually being tanky. OKC may get him. I hope not. I think we will probably have a top 5 player. And yep, still for. Franchise players usually are at the top five, Joe. Uh, Usually the top three more so. You're going to have the diamond in the rough, your Tony Parkers, your Manu Ginobili's that aren't top, Kawhi Leonards. I know you don't. Some folks don't like that name, but those were all franchise players that were not top three picks. It's a lot of it has to do where you draft, but also a lot of it has to do with who you draft. You got to draft the right guy. Lukas Samanic is a perfect example of the Spurs missing on a draft pick a few years ago. It took him 19th overall. I think he's already out of the NBA. There were better players that are still starters right now drafted after him. So, yeah, having a high draft pick helps, but you got to hit no matter where you're drafting. The Spurs have shown us, at the very least, they can hit on their draft picks with DeJounte Murray, Keldon Johnson, and I think who else was drafted 29th? Was Derek White a 29th overall pick? Granted, two of those three players aren't Spurs anymore, but the Spurs have shown, for the most part, a great ability of finding starting level talent late in the draft. Now, finding that carrier franchise level talent that late in the draft, usually that doesn't happen in the NBA. Curry? Was Steph Curry a late pick? Is that Giannis pick 15th? No Yankees live streams. No. So just to reiterate for folks coming in, I made a big announcement at the start of the channel. I'm no longer streaming Giants games, and I will not be streaming the Spurs games. I just don't have the time right now. So many good things are happening life-wise. No Miss TSR Sports. I've decided I never thought of ending the channel. Well, maybe the thought crossed my mind, but I'm not ending the channel. I love doing the San Antonio Spurs recaps on Sundays, and I'm going to continue to do those. Love covering the NFL draft. Love covering the Giants during free agency and the draft, and continue to do that. Covering the Spurs during the draft and free agency. Those things I really enjoy. I'm like, I got to focus on stuff I enjoy that I have time for. Anyway, let's get back into the stats here. Isaiah Roby, we talked about him. I'm not sure what his role is yet. Jeremy Sohan. I mentioned I wasn't sure how he shot in the preseason. Wow, he shot poor. If this was good, bad, and the ugly, this would be super ugly. 31% from the field, 13% from beyond the arc, and 25% from the charity stripe. Wow. Now, granted, preseason, take it with a grain of salt, but sometimes preseason woes carry over into the regular season, Spurs fans. We saw it with Derek White last year, where he struggled in the preseason. And he kind of struggled in the whole regular season shooting-wise with the Spurs. Had a few games here and there where it looked like he was, had got it going before he was traded, but he struggled a lot. I kind of got to wonder, if you perform this poorly in the preseason, could that affect your confidence going into the regular season? Will Pop maybe not start him and start Doug McDermott, which I like Doug McDermott, but I don't want him starting, because if that's the case, the Spurs probably move Doug McDermott to small forward. And Keldon is really undersized right now at power forward. He's been undersized, but with the weight loss, I don't want to see Keldon at the 4 ever again, unless the Spurs are intentionally doing a small ball thing. So Jeremy Sohan, rough preseason. Hopefully, regular season, he turns it around. Speaking of rough, Blake Wesley, who looked fantastic in Summer League, I didn't realize he really struggled in his shot with limited minutes, only 13.5 minutes, but Blake Wesley shot an abysmal 21% from the field, 0 from beyond the arc, and 56% from the line. 56% from the charity stripe from your guard ain't going to cut it in the NBA, so dang. Speaking of which, Gorgie Zhang is next, but man, Blake, Malachi, if you ask me who I thought would shine the most, shooting-wise, actually, I guess I would have said Malachi Branham. Now I think about it. He's the best shooter out of 3 guys we drafted, but I didn't expect Blake Wesley and Jeremy Sohan to struggle. He did miss Summer League Dragon Force, but man, whose shooting form looks awkward? Is it Jeremy Sohan? Trey, yeah, we'll see. The thing is, real quick, YouTube algorithm is and I'm just so buried on Giants content creators where it's the only time I can really get views with Giants content is the draft and free agency, which I love covering, so that kind of works. Anyway, Gorgie Zhang had a good preseason. Shot pretty well. I think he led, I said the Spurs in steals and blocks. Is he going to be our backup center? I don't think so. I got to think the rotation is going to be Jakob Poeltl, then Zach Collins, and then Gorgie Zhang. I think Gorgie Zhang is more of an insurance policy. It's a vet on the team. He's obviously not in the long-term plans. I don't think he gets traded. His trade value, with being north of 30, probably not very high. We do need a vet on the team, and we also need insurance for, I hate to say it, Zach Collins is an injury risk, so he's probably there for that reason. Romeo Langford, honestly forgot he was on the team. Can the dude stay healthy? He played all 5 preseason games, 13 minutes a game. Can he stay healthy? That's a big question mark. Joe Wieskamp shot, oh my goodness, Joe Wieskamp, an atrocious 14% from the field. What did he shoot from beyond the arc? 20%. Didn't take a free throw. Joe Wieskamp, no longer on the Spurs, was waived. It was announced today. Not sure why we drafted the dude, to be transparent. He's gone. Best of luck to Joe Mama. I don't know if Elise Johnson and Jordan Hall are still on the team, to be honest with you guys. It's 15-player roster plus 2 in the G League. I haven't tried. I know Tom Cusey is off. Tommy Cusey's off the team. Joe Wieskamp's off the team. That's 18. So I got to think either Elise Johnson or Jordan Hall's cut. Or Jordan Hall had the worst preseason. Granted, very limited action. 13% from the field. So there you go. There's all the preseason stats. My expectations for the Spurs going forward. How many wins do I think we're going to get? And my expectations for this season. It's going to be a rough season at times, I think. I think we're going to be undersized, Spurs fans. Go, GJ. Thank you, Boys Factor. Read Summer Sohan is more there. Sohan's going to be there. Jeremy Sohan, dyed hair, number 10. He's obviously Dennis Rodman 2.0. We need him to play defensively like the Dennis Rodman 2.0. Dennis Rodman was a fantastic defensive player. He even shut down Shaq in was it the NBA Finals or Eastern Conference Finals? He shut down Shaq in something, and Shaq is much bigger than Rodman. If he can be half the defensive player is his rookie year and just give us some offense, I think we'll be okay. One thing that the Spurs have struggled with in my 3 years covering them on this channel, I've been a Spurs fan much longer, of course, but covering them on this channel, I feel like we've just been crushed on rebounds the last 3 seasons. Hopefully Jeremy Sohan can really help us there. It's going to be an adjustment period. If all 3 rookies are getting substantial playing time, Jeremy Sohan, Malachi Branham, and Blake Wesley, plus Joshua Primo, still a teenager in his 2nd year, there could be a lot of growing pains where those guys are going out there going 0 for 10 for the night. I do expect Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell to be our rocks this year. I think they're gonna surprise people. Devin's really bulked up. Last I saw, Keldon's bulked down. That being said, I could see both guys going for over 20 a game. As far as wins, we're not going 10-72. Elise Johnson was waived. Thank you. I don't think we're going 10-72. Now, 22.5 I see from Alan in the chat. Over or under? I'm going to say over. And the San Antonio Spurs finished 23-59. That is my prediction, Spurs fans. 23-59. It's going to be a rough season. I don't think we're going to be... It's tough because you don't know what some of these other teams are going to do that are loaded up. The Pelicans got Zion back, even though he's now hurt again. Are the Lakers going to be the Lakers from 2 years ago, or the Lakers team that couldn't find their way and were dinged up all last year? A lot of teams are loaded up in the Western Conference. I think 23-59. If Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell play as well as I think they can, if Jakob Poeltl continues to be a rock, my big concern is Trey Jones as our starter. And a giant question mark with Jeremy Sohan being in that starting lineup. What are we going to get out of him in the regular season? Is he going to give us 5 points per game, 8 rebounds, and whatever else? Is he going to be an offensive liability? Time will tell. I want to talk to the China just shot up on its own and hit my table. My camera's on and just knocked it. Wow, that's actually kind of scared the crowd. I don't know what just happened there. I do have this sitting next to me, so I guess his big butt just caused the recliner to show up. Anyway, let's talk to the chat for a little while, and then I'll call it a night. Halo 5, you're thinking under 25 wins? That sounds... Yeah, under 25. I like to be optimistic. I just can't see the team winning more than 25. If they do, I'll be very happy. I think last season I said the Spurs would win 32 to 36 games. I think we won 30. Did we win 34? What was our record last year? I don't remember. We were in, I think, that wheelhouse of 32 to 36. It's going to be a long year, and I know some of those good, bad, and the uglies on Sundays are going to be rough, but I'm still going to do them. And that's probably one of the things I really enjoy the most doing with Spurs content. Obviously, I love covering the draft, who we may draft, free agency. it's not. And just a quick wrap up for those of you that maybe didn't see the beginning of the stream or missed the middle. I will no longer be streaming New York Giants games, which you probably figured out already, but also the San Antonio Spurs. I will not be live streaming this year. Life has been fantastic. No miss TSR Sports to the point where I don't have the time to commit 3 hours a night to streaming. I just don't. Um, it was a tough decision, but I was like, what can I do on this channel? I want to do something. What do I enjoy the most? Love doing NFL draft coverage for the New York Giants. Love doing the Sunday recaps for the Spurs. Can't wait to put up my trip to about the San Antonio. When I go to San Antonio this year, that's going to be a blast uploading a bajillion videos and driving you guys nuts during that. So there's still going to be content. The live content, though, obviously is going to come down a lot. I'll do a mid-season live. Obviously, I'll do the NBA draft live. I love covering the NBA draft, but that's probably going to be the biggest thing is it's me with Selena. Am I going to play? If we were going to play part of the season, why not start pre? Yeah, you might be right. I'm looking forward to all of them. I don't know if I mentioned earlier. I don't know if you guys would be interested in me reacting to highlights. Granted, all those would be copyright claimed. I would just be worried about getting a copyright strike. I don't care if they're copyright claimed. I don't do this channel for money. I've been very openly said that. And granted, I would make a lot more money in this channel live streaming, but that's not why I do the channel. I do the channel because, I like. Oh, my wire come out? Sorry if something happened there. I do the channel because I like the Spurs, and I'm continuing to cover the Spurs and do the Sunday recaps because you guys are my Spurs peeps. You're my guys to talk to. Keldon's bobbling all over the place and driving me crazy. You're my Spurs family. I love talking Spurs, and that's going to, keep me doing content for the Spurs. It just won't be as much. I'm going to keep it sports only on the channel. I tried adding the gaming thing, and it's screwing up the algorithm, and I already ran out of content. I'm like, just leave it alone. Leave it off there. Where will I go to talk about how bad we are? If you do one Spurs game this year, have Rawhead Rex. I know that's a terrible movie. We can't get the number one pick. It's always possible. I know Clan the Spurs fan does daily content. He actually, to his credit, he does like 2 Spurs videos, sometimes 3 Spurs videos a day. I don't know if he's going to live stream the game this year, but this is a great opportunity. I think as far as Spurs streamers go, I'm probably one of the bigger ones that cover the Spurs on a regular basis. So this is a great opportunity for somebody else to take that mantle, if you will, and I'm fine passing that along. I mentioned it earlier in the stream. Doing the sports channel, I just kind of fell into it. It was never a goal ever, which is kind of made it hard to want to do content in the summer. Money's not a driver with this channel. My real goal is to somehow make it musically. And the odds are extremely stacked against me. There's not a ton of San Antonio Spurs channels, so this is, having a subscriber base for doing Spurs content is much easier than a channel that does death metal, Christian death metal, sometimes a political song, sometimes a dirty parody of a song with a goofy pseudo Weird Al Yankovic type of character I do. But on the music channel, I love being able to do whatever. A video came up, or a thing came up last week, and I wrote a quick song and did a quick acoustic short that was 30 seconds. And sure, it only has 25 views, but if you talk to me about my proudest moments on YouTube, it's not the one video we have on this channel with 1 million views or having the live stream over 100,000 views. When I think of the moments I'm most proud of on YouTube, it's the original stuff I did musically. When I had another channel a few years back, I did a cover of Jingle Bells that got 25,000 views. That's not a ton, obviously, but I was really proud of that. A music video on my current channel, unfortunately a political one, has 50+ thousand views, and that type of stuff means the most to me because it's something I created. When you cover a team you love like the San Antonio Spurs, you enjoy doing it, you enjoy talking to people about them, but the Spurs are creating the content. What did Keldon Johnson do in the game? What did Devin Vassell do in the game? I'm talking about what somebody else did. But when I'm making music, it's me. Except for maybe when I'm doing a cover, that's somebody else's work, but I'm still interpreting it and making it my own. So music has been my number one passion. I've been a musician since I was 12. Taking it seriously more like around 16 when I really tried to learn how to play. And then I started recording music in 1997. Bought a computer just for the sole purpose of being like Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails and recording music. So that's been my longest passion. I've been a Giants fan and a Spurs fan longer than I've been a musician, but I've been a fan of watching them, not necessarily covering them, if that makes any sense. Let's get back to the chat a little bit. If you react to Spurs and Celtics hype, bring back OGR. Christian, dirty, death metal, political song. I don't know about all that in one song. One of my favorite things, Rose City, that I did on the music channel is this year is the 25-year anniversary of me doing music, and I took a lot of the death metal stuff I did and I showed the progression or regression, depending how you look at it, of my vocals in the last 25 years. And to my own credit, probably because I don't play live and tour like a lot of these guys, my voice is held up and it's just as deep as it was when I really kind of hit my stride in 2000. If you listen to the stuff from the 90s, it's not quite there yet, but 2000, the super lows came in and I was rocking. And you guys still have the Coyote keep the positive up. And guys, I want to be in Texas in December to see the Spurs versus the Pelicans and Suns. If you see me in the crowd, yell TSR or something. I'll wave to you or whatever, or come up and say hi. I would definitely, if anybody's at the game and you see me, by all means, please approach and say hi. I would love to meet you. You guys are the reason I am going to still do this channel, because I love talking Spurs with you guys. I do love talking Giants draft and Giants free agency with Giants fans, but you guys are the reason that, the main reason I'm not stopping the channel. I like talking Spurs. And yeah, I know this is going to be a rough year. And who knows, maybe things will change. Maybe next season life will slow down a little bit for me and I'll get back to streaming Spurs games. But I do want to cover the Spurs. And right now the Sunday recaps, I know I can absolutely commit to that because I do the stats while I'm at church. I'll admit it. I go to church online, and while I'm there, I just, I listen to my sermon, and I put together the Spurs stats for the recaps, and then after church, I shoot the video. And it works out great. What's up, Zachariah? You'll be in the nosebleeds. So I am going to try to get Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. Good evening. I am going to try to sit behind the Spurs bench for my 2 games in Texas. I really, I don't know how much I'm going to spend. I still haven't bought tickets yet. They're still on SeatGeek. You guys recommended SeatGeek, and I'm like, do I wait closer to that? Because if the Spurs are really bad, those tickets might be. It looks like I can get around the 11th row for $300, 6th row for around $350, $400. I'm like, how close do I want to be? Do I want to be first row? It seems like, though, if I'm going to buy just one ticket, the first couple rows may be out, but I'm going to be really close if I'm in the first 6 rows where I put my camera phone up. I'm going to be able to get some great video of what's happening on the sideline, pop, yelling, the guys goofing around on the bench. I'd probably take like 100 videos while I'm there and upload them, as soon as I get to my hotel next day for my hotel. So I'm really looking forward to the San Antonio trip. I believe you guys have a hockey team out there. The San Antonio Rampage. Are they worth checking out? I'm going to be there for 4 nights, so I'd like to check some other stuff out. Dallas is not too close to San Antonio, is it? I would certainly like to check out Cowboy Stadium, but if that's like a few-hour drive, I don't think I really want to do that. Any good comic book stores in San Antonio while we're at it? I'm going to be out there. I'm a comic book geek. I'm looking forward to the trip and going to Texas for the very first time. That's going to be something. But I think I'm going to probably wrap it up here, guys. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, I would appreciate it if you could. It still does help the channel. YouTube is not receiving enough data. Am I still live? Everything okay? Haven't seen the chat move, and now I'm getting an error. Did I come off? Am I still going? I can't tell. Okay, thank you. I'm like, did it just shut down? I've got a big yellow bar coming up about something wrong. I'm like, what is that? But I'm going to wrap it up, and I appreciate everybody's support. I am still going to be doing content. And let's actually pull up the Spurs schedule just real quick this year. Quick, tonight. Spurs schedule. They play Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. They play the Hornets, the Pacers, and the Sixers this week. This means when I do the Sunday recap, I'll have a full slate of games to cover. 3 full games. Wow, we played the Timberwolves Monday and Wednesday? Tomorrow, we played the Timberwolves 3 times in a week? What the heck is that, Spurs fans? We played the Minnesota Timberwolves October 24th, October 26th, and October 30th. Why are we playing Minnesota that many times? Is anybody else? We played the Lakers 3 times in a week. We played the Lakers November 20th, November 25th, and November 26th. Why? Who? We play Utah back-to-back, Houston back-to-back. This is weird. I didn't look over the schedule like this before, but There's some really weird scheduling. I don't know what to make of that. Well, whatever. It is what it is. I didn't create the darn schedule. Spurs must have the youngest roster in the season. 4 19-year-olds in the 17-man roster, 23-year-old average. They were not going 0-82. I'm in Texas, and I hope you get to see the Spurs ASAP. Melissa, I'm going to see the Spurs in December. I'm going to Texas in December. I've already booked my plane, hotel, rental car. I just haven't bought tickets yet. I will be in Texas, and while I will not be live streaming them, I will still be covering them, especially the Sunday recaps. That's going to be my chance to really talk to you guys about the games. I still don't know if I'm going to react to highlights. I suppose what I could do to avoid any copyright issues is, see, all the highlights are going to be on at night. That's the problem. The Spurs play at like 8. So that's going to mess me up. I work in the morning. That's not going to work. Eat a steak at Joseph. Oh, I don't eat steak, Son of Liberty. First 10 games are bizarre for several teams. So it's not just the Spurs. It's a lot of teams like that. We don't want to wait till Alien World Dungeons & Dragons Lair. Ooh. All right. I definitely have to look up some comic book stores. The weather, from what I've read, will be around 60 degrees in December, which is perfect. It means I can walk around. Maybe I'll wear my old school Spurs coat from like 1995. Will I get picked on from my subscribers in Texas if I'm walking around with the pink collar and the old Fiesta coat from like 95? Am I going to get like dork? Or are people going to be like, all right, you're rocking the colors. Old school. Good for you. I'm really looking forward to it. And looking forward to getting regular content back up on the channel. Even though it'll mostly be on Sundays with the Spurs recaps, I am very much looking forward to doing those. So I'm going to get running, my friends. To those of you that tuned in tonight, thank you very much. To those of you that are listening on a recap, thank you for listening. And I do fish sandwiches, so I'll have to check that out. Thank you all for being here. And hopefully not everybody leaves because I'm not streaming the Spurs anymore. But I understand if a lot of people unsubscribe. I've been losing a lot of subscribers the past couple months. I get it. And it's okay. The channel will persevere. It's an adjustment, but life will go on, and the Spurs will go on. I'll be right there with them. Anyway, that's all I got. Thank you very much, everybody. Until next time, what you gonna do when TSR Sports runs wild on you? Go Spurs, go!